A sloth, a donkey, and a curious human send a prompt and see what they're doing. One hits record with a question on his mind. Two brothers pick it up, see what they find. Corn takes his time, Herman's got the facts. Back and forth, they never hold back. My weird prompts, come on in, that's where we begin. My weird prompts, glad you're here.
This episode was generated using artificial intelligence. Please verify facts.
My Weird Prompts is a community-driven initiative exploring how AI can fuel curiosity and uncover the fascinating ways our world works. GPU compute for this podcast is generously provided by Modal. Learn more at modal.com.
Have you ever been just walking down the street, maybe carrying a coffee or checking your phone, and suddenly your left earbud decides it is time to make a break for it? It is that specific, sickening sound of plastic hitting pavement, and you just know you are one tilt of the head away from losing a $300 piece of tech down a storm drain. It is one of those small, daily anxieties that really should have been solved by now. We are living in 2026, yet here we are, still fumbling with these tiny, expensive pebbles in our ears.
It is the universal struggle of the human ear canal, corn. We are living in an era where generative artificial intelligence is writing poetry and driving cars, yet we are still mostly relying on three little pieces of mushroom-shaped silicone to keep our audio in place. Today's prompt from Daniel is about this very frustration, specifically looking at the Goldilocks ear phenomenon where you are just stuck between standard sizes and nothing seems to fit quite right. It is the year we finally stop settling for one size fits most.
It is funny because we talk about high-end audio all the time, the bit rates and the driver types, but none of that matters if the thing is bouncing around in your ear, or, worse, hurting you. Daniel is asking about the connoisseur world of custom molds, and these niche solutions for people who have been betrayed by the small, medium, and large paradigm. I think most people just assume their ears are the problem, rather than the hardware. They feel like they have weird ears. But maybe the industry is just lazy.
Most people's ears are the problem, but only because the hardware is designed for a statistical average that does not actually exist in nature. The anatomy of the ear canal is as unique as a fingerprint. When you look at the cross-section of a typical canal, it is not a straight pipe. It has bends, it has varying widths, and most importantly, it is almost never symmetrical. Your left ear and your right ear are likely different shapes, which is why that left earbud always feels like it is about to bail, while the right one is snug as a bug. We actually touched on the physical comfort of long-term wear back in episode 1174, when we looked at the engineering of sleep earbuds, but for daily drivers the stakes are even higher because you are moving.
I have noticed that asymmetry myself. I will get a perfect seal on one side, and the other side feels like I am trying to jam a square peg into a round hole, or it just slowly slides out over the course of 10 minutes as I talk or chew. Why has the industry been so slow to move past the silicone tip? It feels like such a low-tech bottleneck for such high-tech devices.
It comes down to manufacturing at scale. Injection molded silicone is incredibly cheap to produce by the millions, but we are finally seeing a shift because the consumer expectations have changed. We are wearing these things for 8 hours a day now, not just for a 30-minute jog. That is why 2026 has been such a massive year for what people call tip rolling. It is this hobbyist world where you buy dozens of different aftermarket tips to find the perfect marriage of comfort and acoustic seal.
Tip rolling sounds like something you would do at a bakery, but I know it is a deep rabbit hole on forums like HeadFi. If I am someone like Daniel, and I am tired of my earbuds feeling like they are on the verge of escape, where does the journey actually start? Do I just start buying random bags of foam?
You start with materials. Most earbuds come with silicone because it is durable and easy to clean, but it has zero give. If your ear canal is a size medium and a half, a medium silicone tip will leak air, which kills your bass, and a large will cause pressure pain. This is where Comply foam comes in. They have been the gold standard for a long time because they use a memory foam that you actually compress with your fingers before insertion. It expands to fill the specific nooks and crannies of your canal. They even have a guaranteed fit program now because they know how frustrating this is. If you buy a pack and none of them fit, they will work with you to find the right size.
I've used those, and they definitely stay in better, but they get kinda gross after a month or two, right? They lose that springiness and start looking like something you found under a couch.
They are a consumable product, which is the downside. You are looking at replacing them every few months. But if you want to stay with silicone, there is a brand called SpinFit that a lot of audiophiles swear by. They have a patented cushion at the center of the tip that allows the head to swivel. It follows the natural bend of your ear canal instead of just hitting the wall and stopping. Then you have brands like Asla with their Sedna earfit line, which uses a material called elastomers. It is a thermoplastic elastomer that actually softens and changes shape based on your body heat. It literally molds to your ear while you wear it.
That sounds like science fiction. A material that melts into your ear shape just from your body heat?
It does not melt, but it becomes more pliable. It creates a tacky grip that prevents the bud from sliding out even if you are sweating. But let's say you want to go beyond just changing the tips. Daniel mentioned the molded, custom world. That feels like the pro-level move. I remember seeing musicians on stage with those translucent earpieces that look like they were carved out of glass. How does a regular person get those for their everyday earbuds? That is the jump from universal to custom in-ear monitors, or CIEMs. Historically, this was only for touring pros like Alex Van Halen, for whom Jerry Harvey actually invented the first dual-driver custom monitors back in the day. But now, in 2026, companies like 64 Audio, Ultimate Ears Pro, and Empire Ears have made this accessible to anyone willing to pay for it. The process is fascinating. You go to an audiologist and they perform what is called an ear impression. They stick a little foam dam deep in your ear to protect the eardrum and then inject this medical-grade silicone goop, usually a bright pink or blue, into your ear.
I have heard that feels incredibly weird. Like you are underwater, but also like someone is tickling your brain.
It is a very strange sensation. You have to sit perfectly still for about 10 minutes while it hardens, usually with a bite block in your mouth. That is a key detail. You want your jaw slightly open because the shape of your ear canal actually changes when your mouth is open versus closed. If they take the mold while your mouth is shut, the seal might break the second you start talking or singing. Once it is done, the audiologist pops out these perfect physical replicas of your ear canals.
And then you just mail those off to a factory?
In 2026, most of these are then scanned into a computer using high-resolution three-dimensional scanners. Companies like Campfire Audio then take that digital model and three-dimensionally print a shell that fits you and only you. This is their modular program. They can create a custom tip that fits onto a high-end earbud, or they can build the entire earphone into that custom shell. The lead time is usually about 3 to 4 weeks from the moment they receive your impressions.
And that shell is what holds the speakers.
Precisely. Or, if you already have earbuds you love, like AirPods Pro or the latest Sennheisers, you can get custom sleeves. Companies like Snugs Pro or Urtune Fidelity will take those same impressions and make a custom silicone tip that snaps onto your existing earbuds. It replaces the stock tip with a medical-grade silicone mold of your entire outer ear and canal. It is basically impossible for them to fall out because they are physically locked into the geometry of your ear. These tips have a lifespan of about 5 years because they are made of high-quality, medical-grade materials.
What is the cost-benefit analysis there? If I'm spending $50 to $100 for the audiologist appointment, and then another $200 for the custom tips, I am approaching the price of the earbuds themselves. Is the sound quality jump really that significant, or is it mostly about the fit?
It is both. When you have a perfect seal, you are lowering the noise floor significantly. You do not have to turn the volume up as high because you are not fighting outside noise, which is better for your long-term hearing health. Acoustically, a custom fit ensures the sound is being delivered at the exact same angle to your eardrum every single time. There is no guesswork. For an audiophile, that consistency is worth the extra cash.
I like that idea of consistency. But I have to ask about the tech Sennheiser just launched. I saw some buzz about them bringing a semi-custom solution to the mainstream. Is that actually a middle ground, or is it just marketing?
It is a real step forward. They are using a simplified scanning process that you can do with a smartphone, similar to how Face ID works. It is not quite as deep or precise as a physical impression from an audiologist, but it allows them to manufacture a tip that is far more anatomical than a standard circle. It targets that Goldilocks zone Daniel mentioned. For most people, that is probably the 80-20 solution. You get 80% of the benefit of a full custom mold for a fraction of the price and hassle. TechRadar actually called it game-changing earlier this year.
It feels like we are moving toward a world where you buy the electronics and then you print the interface at home. I mean, we are already seeing people use LiDAR on their phones to measure rooms. Using it to measure an ear seems like the next logical step.
We are almost there. The bottleneck is the material. You need medical-grade hypoallergenic silicone or acrylic that can withstand the moisture and oils of the ear canal for years. But let's look at the other side of Daniel's question. What if the problem is not the fit, but the whole concept of putting things in your ear?
You are talking about the bone conduction and open ear revolution. I have seen more people wearing those little headbands that sit in front of the ear rather than in it. It always looked a bit sci-fi to me, like they're listening to a radio in their jawbone.
Because they literally are. Bone conduction is a completely different sensory pathway. Instead of vibrating the air in your ear canal to move your eardrum, these devices use transducers that sit on your cheekbones. They send vibrations through your skull directly to the cochlea. You are bypassing the outer and middle ear entirely. This is a huge deal for people with certain types of hearing loss, but it is also a massive trend for athletes and commuters in 2026.
That sounds like it would feel like your head is buzzing. Is it actually a high-fidelity experience?
It has come a long way. If you are looking for the absolute best bass response for a Hans Zimmer score, bone conduction is going to disappoint you. Physics is a tough opponent there. But for podcasts, audiobooks, or even casual music while you are out running, the 2026 flagships like the Shock's Open Run Pro 2 are incredible. They have added dedicated bass transducers that help fill out that thin sound that used to plague the technology. RTIMs and Sound Guys both have it at the top of their lists right now.
I can see the appeal for Daniel, especially living in a busy city. You need that situational awareness. We actually talked about this in episode 875, the single ear solution for situational awareness. But bone conduction takes it to a whole new level because both ears are open. If you are walking through a busy intersection, you can hear the car coming and your podcast at the same time.
And then there is the open ear clip-on style, which is the other big trend of 2026. The Bose Ultra Open Earbuds are the leader here. They do not use bone conduction, they are basically tiny, highly directional speakers that clip onto the side of your ear and aim the sound into the canal without blocking it. It is like having a private soundstage that only you can hear, but your ears are still wide open to the world.
It is a totally different philosophy. One is about total immersion and isolation. The other is about augmenting your reality without removing you from it. I find the clip-on design of the Bose really interesting because it avoids that headband that bone conduction headphones usually require. If you're wearing a hat or glasses, those headbands can be a real pain.
The clip-ons are definitely winning the fashion battle right now. They look more like jewelry than tech. But for athletes, bone conduction is still king because of the stability. You could do a backflip and the shocks wouldn't move. If you are a swimmer, the Mojawa Run Plus is the go-to because it is fully waterproof and uses internal storage since Bluetooth doesn't work well underwater. You can't really do that with traditional earbuds because the water interferes with the seal and the sound.
So, if we are looking at this from Daniel's perspective of the earbud that is always falling out, bone conduction is the ultimate fix because there is nothing to fall out. It is physically impossible for them to slip out of the canal because they aren't in the canal.
It is the ultimate solution for the Goldilocks ear problem by simply removing the ear canal from the equation. But I think for most people, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. If you love your current earbuds but the fit is driving you crazy, the move is to stop settling for the tips that came in the box.
So, to wrap this up for Daniel and anyone else struggling with the one tilt-away drop, what is the actual decision tree here? Because it feels like there are a lot of paths to take, from $20 foam to $300 custom molds.
Step 1. Try the aftermarket tips. If you have never tried memory foam, start there. Comply is the big name, and their multi-size packs are perfect for people who aren't sure where they fall on the spectrum. If foam isn't your thing, try the SpinFit silicone tips or the Asled Zelestek. That little swivel mechanism or the heat-activated molding is a game changer for people with angled ear canals.
And if you have asymmetric canals.
Buy 2 different size packs. It sounds annoying, but it is a one-time fix. Use a medium in the left and a small in the right. Most of these companies sell individual size packs once you know what you need.
And step 2, if you have tried the tips and you are still frustrated,
Then you have to decide if you want to stay inside the ear or go outside. If you want the best possible sound and isolation, go for the custom sleeves. Find an audiologist, get the impressions, which will cost you about $50 to $100, and send them off to a company like Snugs or Eartune Fidelity. It will cost you about $200 to $250 total, but it solves the problem permanently. You will have a fit that is so secure you could probably go through a wind tunnel and they wouldn't budge.
and if you are just tired of things being in your ears altogether.
That is when you look at the Shox Open Run Pro 2 or the Bose Ultra Open. These are the best options for situational awareness in 2026. They are not for critical listening in a quiet room, but for a busy life, they are incredibly liberating. You stop thinking about your ears entirely, which is the ultimate goal of any good piece of technology.
I think that is the key takeaway. Stop fighting your anatomy. Your ears are not wrong. The one-size-fits-all tips are wrong. It is worth the small investment of time and money to actually enjoy your audio instead of constantly adjusting it. It is amazing how much we tolerate discomfort in our tech. We will spend hours researching the processor in our phone, but won't spend 10 minutes researching the pieces of plastic we jam into our heads every morning.
I agree. And there is a real sustainability angle there too. If you have a pair of high-quality earbuds that you actually enjoy wearing, you are less likely to toss them and buy the next version just because you are frustrated with the fit. Custom tips usually have a 5-year lifespan if you take care of them.
It is also a bit of a status symbol in the audiophile world, isn't it? Having that custom mold, it says you take your listening seriously.
It is the bespoke suit of the audio world. There is a certain satisfaction in knowing that a piece of technology was manufactured specifically for your anatomy. It is one of the few places where mass production still has to bow down to the individual human form.
I think the future of this is going to be very exciting. As smartphone LiDAR gets more precise, we might reach a point where you can just scan your ear at home and have a custom-fit tip 30-dimensionally printed and shipped to you the next day. No audiologist required.
We are very close to that. The software is already there, we're just waiting for the hardware to become standard on every phone. But for now, the audiologist is your best friend if you want that perfect fit.
Just don't let Herman talk you into the $3,000 custom monitors with 12 drivers per ear. That is a whole different level of obsession.
But the soundstage, corn, the separation, you can hear the drummer's watch ticking.
See, this is where he gets dangerous. We should probably wrap this up before he starts explaining the signal-to-noise ratio of medical-grade acrylic.
I was just getting to the good part about the acoustic dampers and the pressure relief valves.
Maybe next time, Herman. This has been a great deep dive into a problem that is way more common than people realize. It is one of those things where once you solve it, you wonder how you ever lived without it.
It really is. Thanks for the prompt, Daniel. It is a great reminder that sometimes the most important tech in our lives is the simplest.
Big thanks to our producer, Hilbert Flumingtop, for keeping us on track as always. And a huge thank you to Modal for providing the GPU credits that power this show. We literally couldn't do this without their support.
If you found this helpful and want to dive deeper into our archives, we have over 1,200 episodes at myweirdprompts.com. You can search for topics like sensory overload or situational awareness, which we have covered in the past.
And if you want to make sure you never miss an episode, search for my weird prompts on Telegram to get notified the second a new show drops.
This has been My Weird Prompts. We will see you in the next one.
Take it easy.
This episode was generated using Gemini Flash 3. Text-to-speech engine was Chatterbox.
Thanks for listening to our show, My Weird Prompts, where our thoughts go from slow takes to facts on cue. We change and follow through. My weird prompts.